You know what's popular, even to this day? Well, not as popular as it was in the past. Hot Wheels cars. So, of course, when Hasbro thought, oh, let's make compatible Hot Wheels cars for Transformers, transforming Hot Wheels cars, it was bound to be an instant success. Thing is, for this weird toy today, it's a bit of an odd occurrence. Robots in Disguise was a line of primarily repaints, and of course one of the most beloved repaints would be Scourge over here. Repainted from the G2 hero Optimus Prime with his huge trailer, which is probably somewhere on my shelf over there. It really goes to show the quality of this mold, that it was so bloody good that it could be released in 2001 and still be bought by tons and tons of people, although it probably helped that G2 sold abysmally. But of course when it came to the Spychangers, Hasbro did reuse some molds from the G2 GoBots, but for some of the mainline cast, they had to make all new molds. That being said, they never had an Optimus version of this, until several years later in Universe 2003, where we did get repaints of them. So let's recap. Optimus got redecoed into Scourge, who then got turned into a Spychanger, who then got changed into Optimus. It's a bit of a roundabout thing. The question is, who is better? Well, let's find out. The Spychanger line is a continuation of the G2 GoBots line. Not GoBots as in the power of the GoBots or whatever you want. I don't know what's really called. No, GoBots as in they go really fast. These are supposed to be compatible with Hot Wheels tracks, hence why their wheels are pinned in such a way. Yes, the recent Speed Series Legends could only dream of being this smooth. Anyway, putting this back here, there were only 4 new molds in the Spychanger line released. Everything else was just a repaint, or should I say redeco, of all the G2 versions. Yeah, there was a gap between G2 and this, of course, with Beast Wars, but they thought, hey, let's just do it. And that's kind of what RID was. It was a line of repaints. Really good repaints, but repaints nonetheless. I actually wouldn't mind something like that nowadays, to be honest. So this is the original, and my word, they have done a very, very nice job of making this thing look premium. In fact, I'd go as far as to say as the back section looks far cleaner than the official one. And how do I know this? Well, I actually have the official one. If we just bring it in here, we can actually see a full-on comparison. It's only been a couple of weeks since I got this guy, and I already love him to bits. He's bloody awesome. Unfortunately, they've had to make some sacrifices. You've got the Decepticon logo here instead of there, which is to be expected. Missing a lot of the teal, unfortunately. They've kept the teal here, and they've kept the teal here, but this teal's all gone. All the stuff on the roof is gone. Yeah, if you really consider it, the original version is a much more impressive piece, but what they've done at this size is still really, really good. I mean, yeah, there's no chrome bumper there, but look, they've even painted the headlights. That is really, really nice. Unfortunately, no taillights, but there were no painted taillights on the original there, unless you count the sword storage. And if we're looking at this little guy here, yeah, he still looks remarkably good on his own. They've painted all the red windows here. Yeah, there's no molded windows at the back here, so, you know, it makes sense that there wouldn't be any actual windows there. But I don't think a truck really has those windows anyway. Lovely, lovely metallic red paint that they've used here and there, and the Decepticon logo is done super cleanly, despite the fact it's going over a ridged section. I mean, it does unfortunately not come with the trailer, but, you know, it's a Spychanger. What did you expect? There was someone working on a world's smallest version of this, but unfortunately it never actually reached the numbers to go into full production. It was going to have ball joints and everything, and it probably would have had better articulation than the original full-sized version. But what can we do? There wasn't interest, so it wasn't manufactured. Maybe someone, a customizer, could make a 3D model of it one day. Now, taking a look at Optimus Prime, I mean, he's impressive, but he is less impressive. I picked this up at last year's Oz Comic Cons, I think some of you might remember, from a stall I don't really like to go into the details about because he was scalping Micromasters, and apparently he's very, very well known in the community for being a general. Yeah, I mean, it's nice, but there's just some weird choices. For starters, there's no painted headlights, and that's a real bummer because the original had that just fine. And then the windows are the same silver paint as the grille and bumper section. What? Why do you have to cut costs? This is 2001, not 2011. Yeah, they've still got the chrome on the wheels like the original, although I should point out that there is a fake wheel here, and it looks much more obvious in blue than it does in black. That's a bit of a shame. But for some reason, they've kept the teal from the original in the exact same places? Okay. A bit of a weird choice. And that Autobot symbol has seen better days. It's applied alright. in general, but it looks lopsided. It's not actually lopsided, but it kind of gives off that impression just because it's so small. It should have been a little bit bigger, I think. I mean, in general, it's painted quite nice, especially compared to a lot of modern Legion figures. But compared to Scourge, there's no competition. I do hope Scourge is more readily available on the aftermarket than this guy is. This guy was mint and seal box when I picked him up, but even with the joy of opening a box for the first time, I still prefer Scourge in every single way. I mean, even the chrome looks better on him for some reason. It looks less faded, and that's not faded. That was straight out of the box. This guy was released much, much later in the Universe line, whereas this guy was released originally when Robots in Disguise came out. In fact, I incorrectly said that was 2001, but actually it was much later. That's what happens when I don't script things. I make mistakes and I can't edit them out very well. Gah! This is so annoying! And of course, your size comparison doobly-doos. Here we have a standard Legion figure, a standard Legends figure, a standard Siege Micromaster, a not-so-standard minifigure, and crumbs. I'm going to show the transformation on Scourge, not just because he's better, but also because it's much easier to see with the black plastic against the white background. He is dead simple, very close to his source material, but a little simpler than the source material, actually. Of course, there's no sword to take from under this section here, unfortunately, but it doesn't matter. You just extend the legs like so, you bring the arms down, just like on the original, and you bring the head up. And that is it. Unfortunately, he's got a bit of a mono leg, and his articulation is horribly gimped, but still, this color scheme looks sexy regardless of what figure it's on. And of course, I guess we have Optimus too, and again, there's no contest between these two. There's baffling decisions on this guy, and there's just pure loveliness on this guy. It is completely what it is. So starting off with Scourge, they've put a lot of attention in terms of paint details. The sculpting is brilliant on its own. They've even got the sculpted joints that the original had, sort of fake joints there, but still, everything else is here and accounted for. The head sculpt is lovely with lots and lots of levels of paint. They've even painted the tiny little red eyes in there. I mean, those are absolutely tiny. The shoulders are a bit of a caricature version of the original, but they do the trick. And the arms also do the trick. Unfortunately, you get to the problem here where you kind of realize a lot of sacrifices were made to service the Hot Wheels car compatibility gimmick. For example, the arms move, they wiggle around like so, and then they also move here at the elbow. And that's it. You got mono leg that doesn't even bend here because of the pull-out method. That isn't what it sounded like. But still, even with all of the sacrifices made, I think for the paint job alone, it's 100% worth it. Yes, it could have used some more red in the robot mode, but look, you've got teal paint here, 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 the crotch plate, the knees, the head sculpt has tons of paint. Jesus Christ, they've just painted this thing to the nines. It's brilliant. I mean, you compare it to the original and you can see that they've done an amazing likeness of it. Everything here works super well. You can even see that the tires are based on the design of these tires here. Just, I don't know what to say. It's a brilliant little guy that they've got here. And then you bring in Optimus, and it's like, what have they done? The head sculpt is still really lovely, but they've used silver paint for the eyes for some reason. Again, they're really cutting the costs on the paint here. Again, the teal also just does not work. I like that they've got some silver on the grille, but the one place they could have used teal was the windows there, and they didn't even use that. In fact, why didn't they use teal on these parts here? It just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, they got teal on dark blue, just does not work. Teal on white, ugh. The red plastic just washes out all of the lovely details that harken back to the original toy. The wheels even look more obvious now that they're in full view here. It's just all around, it's a pretty lackluster figure. Because these figures are fairly limited in terms of their articulation and their playability, they live and die by their paint scheme. And, well, this thing has pretty much died by it. Although at least he rolls well, as you've seen right there. Although setting them side by side, yeah, I can kind of see that they look a little hunchbacked if you look at them from a high angle. It is a little weird, I will admit. And of course your standard size comparisons with your standard Legion, standard Legends, at which point I realized I had to pull the camera back a bit because they were totally out of frame, standard Siege Micromaster, not so standard minifigure, and Crumbs. So yeah, the base mold is really bloody good, even despite its really lackluster articulation. But if you have to get just one, just get Scourge. I mean, Optimus Prime is barely passable, so, you know, you will like him if you've only got him, but Scourge is just so much better. I don't even know why you'd even consider him. There's just really no point. Yeah, there's no contest between these. Scourge is 100% the superior mold. I mean, Optimus is good, but there are so many weird color choices that it just really brings this down. I'm not sure which one of these is rare and which one of these goes on the aftermarket for a higher price, but if you can get Scourge, just get him. He's a much nicer looking figure. One day I would like to see someone make a trailer for this guy, but for now, it's pretty good. And yeah, we may have never gotten the world's smallest version of Scourge / Hero Optimus Prime, which would have looked great alongside this, but, you know, this does quite well on its own, so I don't really think it matters at the end of the day. Now we're almost at the Legends and Legions lineups, as this marathon is named after, but before that we've got the Unicron trilogy to cover, and I suppose where better to cover the Unicron trilogy than with the staple of the line, the Minicons. Question is, which one of these is better? Like with Scourge and Optimus. It is a bit of a running theme, isn't it?